Well, hello there, family. I didn't see you there. And welcome back to another edition of Midweek Moment with the Crenshaws. I am your host, Sanchez Crenshaw, and as always, I am joined by the absolute best part of my day.
Yes.
The apple of my eye.
Yes, I am.
The wind beneath my wing. The rib that completes me.
You're completed.
The eames to my gorm.
And I don't care. What?
This one you really should know. It was one of the favorite shows. Actually, you turned me on to this particular show. Eames and Gorms. Now, I'll give you a little hint. They were actually never together. They were partners. But she kept him balanced.
Okay, it wasn't Bones.
It wasn't Bones. Nope, I didn't say Bones and Booth.
Don't do that. I don't know.
Come on, think about it for a second. They were partners. He had a crazy mother. She was actually psychotic. She was diagnosed psychotic. It ran in his family. He battled with it all the time. He always fell out with everybody.
So it's not Lie to Me.
Not Lie to Me, no.
Okay.
Okay, I'll give you. It's a cop show.
I know I feel like, and it's not The Mentalist.
Nope. You're naming everything but the right thing.
Oh my God! Of course, because I don't know what we talking about. I hate that.
He was tall. She was short.
No, it's not. You gonna have to tell me.
Come on, man. Seriously,
You got to tell me. You got to tell
this
me.
is crazy. You're the one turned me on to it. Law and Order.
Law
and Order, Criminal Intent.
No.
How did you not get that? You turned me on to that show.
You talking about because he remind me of Columbo?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, go on.
Because you remind me of Columbo. Yes.
How do you?
I don't know.
Crazy.
Because I know characters, not names.
But I gave you the character's name.
I still didn't get it.
I didn't give you their real name. I gave you their character's name.
I know landmarks are not street names. See,
this is
same
crazy.
Thing, same premise.
You gonna tell the family who you are?
What's going on, family, guys? What is going on? I am Angela Crenshaw, guys. What is going?
That's my wife, family. Family, that's my wonderful wife. And family, I try. She gets on me all the time. And when I give her softballs, that shows that she turned. Now, I've always been a fan of Law and Order.
Listen.
And of course, there's been different variations of it.
1,000.
But as far as Criminal Intent, she turned me on to that show. She started watching it first.
Because he was a modern day Columbo.
Yeah, but when I tell you, when I give it to you,
I don't remember names.
You strike out. This is crazy.
We're going to stay on the same team.
But family, welcome family. For our new family members, our new listeners, welcome. We thank you so much for listening. However you found us, whether it's on iTunes, whether it's Podbean, whether it's Spotify, whether it's Google Play, whether it's Amazon Music, whether it's iHeartRadio, on our own personal website at www.thecrenshawcorner.com. We thank you guys so much for listening.
So much.
For our returning family members, you already know how we feel about you.
We love you.
Now, our new family members, please don't take offense.
Yes.
We love you. There's a special place in our heart for you. Mm-hmm. But there's something about the returning family members that just makes it all that better. All that better. Just makes it wonderful. And we just thank you. And we just thank you so much for just being a part, going along this journey. And we just thank you for it.
Yeah, that was so sweet.
I was trying.
I ain't even interject or anything.
Yeah, well, kind of.
Here.
But family. Also, as always, we just welcome you to the cookout.
Yeah.
Make sure you bring some aluminum foil so you can what, babe?
Bring something with you. I don't even know what I was about to say.
I was supposed to take something with you.
Well, I want you to bring your aluminum foil
so you can take something with you. There you go. We're going to play that off like you're supposed to say that.
I was trying to see if they was up.
Is that what you was doing?
See if they was, right on top of their game.
Okay.
Yes.
If that's what you want me to believe, then that's what we'll go with.
I feel like singing dance to the music, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
But family, as always, we say, bring your aluminum foil to make sure you can take something with you.
Yeah.
That may confuse some people, but it's really simple.
It's simple.
With the Crenshaw Corner, the different variations of Midweek Moment and Crenshaw Corner, we like to have fun.
We do.
And every once in a while, my wife will just go off on a tirade.
I'm not going to touch it
tangent,
today.
if you will.
I'm not going to touch it, people.
We're going straight and she'll just veer off left.
Nope, not going to touch it.
But the one thing we always try to do, we always try to give you a different perspective.
We do.
A different way to look at things.
Aha moment.
Try to give you an aha moment.
And I have good intentions. I don't know what Sanchez does, but y'all, family, I have good intentions.
Okay, we're going to go with that.
Yeah,
the intentions are always good.
Our intentions are good.
Yeah, but I'm going to keep saying what I always say with the old adage. The road to hell is paved with Good intentions.
Really?
I'm just saying.
Anyway, go ahead.
But family, we just thank you. And that's why we say, bring your aluminum foil. Make sure you take something with you. Just a different perspective, a nugget, an aha moment, something that you can reflect on at a later date. That's why we say that. And then also family, just to finish off the introduction, we consider ourselves an interactive podcast, which means we can be found on the socials.
We are.
We're on Instagram. We're on Twitter. I was trying to go by it.
We Instas.
We're on Instagram. We're on Twitter.
We be tweeting.
And we're on Facebook.
We book
all
us.
under Crenshaw Corner. These are not words. All under Crenshaw Corner. And of course, you can email us at any time at thecrenshawcorner@gmail.com.
Yes.
Once again, thecrenshawcorner@gmail.com.
I love when you say the.
Now, family.
Listen.
I'm going to be honest with you. I have no idea what's going on. I don't know what we're talking about. I don't know what the topic is. So I'm going to pass this over to my beautiful wife.
Well, first of all, isn't his voice so soothing today, guys? Like it's Wednesday. Are you like in a relaxed mode? Did you take a gummy? Like, what's happening with
I didn't do a gummy. I didn't. I should have.
Somebody going to be like, yeah, do what?
I didn't.
Listen.
I didn't do the edible.
So soothing.
No, this is the I'm beat down voice.
Who beat you down?
My professional life. I'm tired of meetings, man. Tired of meetings.
You had like 4 meetings so far. Have you had 4 so far?
No, actually, I've had 5 so far.
5 meetings so far.
Yeah. So my day started.
So you're trying to your vocals hurt.
Yeah. So I'm just saying this is my y'all win voice. That's what this is. This is Zoom Teams. This is y'all win.
This is y'all win.
I surrender.
I surrender on a Wednesday.
Yeah, I am like the dude in the old Looney Tune cartoons that pulls out his white boxes. Puts them on a stick, and just wave the white flag.
You done?
I surrender.
I's done.
I's done, boss. I's done. What's up, babe? What are we talking to the family about today?
About a couple of days ago. No, was it about 2 or 3 days ago, babe?
About 2 or 3 days ago.
We watched on Netflix.
You watched.
And
you suckered me into it.
Thank you. Didn't say that.
It wasn't my idea.
We watched In Our Mother's Garden on Netflix.
Yeah, actually a very good show.
Very good. It was very good. It wasn't a series. Basically, it was just one segment.
Yeah, I recommend it, family.
Yeah, if you can, please watch it again. It's In Our Mother's Garden.
Yeah.
And the concept came from Alice Walker's book, In Search of Our Mother's Garden. Basically, in search of who our mothers and grandmothers were in our lives and who they were. So me and Sanchez at about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, you kept me up. I just wanted to sleep.
Discussing that because it was very interesting.
You kept hitting me.
I did not keep hitting you.
Yeah, the moment you seemed like you knew. The moment I would get into that first good doze off. Hey, babe.
Because I needed you to watch it and we needed to discuss.
Yeah, let's discuss.
Because it was discussed. So one of the things that was very interesting to me was all the women talking about their mother, what they knew or did not know of them.
Right.
And what they knew and did not know of their grandmothers, as well as their great-grandmothers, which was really, really cool. And so they just talked to different, even age groups. There were some women there that were like 60, 70 talking about them.
Okay.
So, from young to old.
Right.
And so that got me thinking for both of us, like, hey, let's talk about that for a minute, like what we remember. Like their creative energy, what they give you, what did they leave you?
I got you.
And so that's what I want to talk about a little bit.
I can do that.
Can you do it?
I can talk about my grandmother all day long.
Okay.
So I can definitely do that.
Okay. So so what I want you to say is do you know your let's talk about great grandmothers because a lot of people do not know great grandmothers. Do you know your great grandmothers? Have you ever seen your great grandparents?
I have.
Grandmothers?
I've never had the pleasure of meeting my great grandparents.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure at some point in time, I know I've seen pictures.
Right.
I've seen pictures of them. But of course, I've never had the privilege of actually meeting them. By the time that my life started, their light had already came to an end.
Yeah, that happened. That was for me too.
Yeah. So my great grandparents know.
Yeah, for me too. The only thing was interesting is my mother, as far as my great grandmother's concerned.
Yes.
My mother always says this. She
You Hannah.
I'm Hannah.
Yeah, you Hannah.
Which is my great grandmother who raised her. And she said, I'm so much of Hannah. I'm short like her. I don't like this word my mother used.
Use the word though. Use the word. Use the word.
My mother said, you just like Grandma Hannah, short and dumpy. People, that is not a compliment.
That's not a compliment, mommy.
And I tell my mother that, but for some reason,
but the crazy
she
part,
think that's a compliment.
Not even so much she thinks it's a compliment. It touches her spirit. Every time, because mommy has this laugh. It's contagious.
It's wrong.
It's the cutest little giggle type laugh
but
that she
wrong.
does. That whatever she says, that you're short and dumpy.
Like my grandmother Hannah.
She just started cracking up to herself.
She cracks herself up. So what she did was, she has a family heirloom from my great grandmother. What
Yes.
my great grandmother did was she took all of my great uncles,
Right.
shirts, their work shirts or whatever, and my great grandfather's shirts, and she cut them up and she made a quilt, because that's something
family
would,
quilt,
the
yeah.
family quilt for her sons. Because in the crazy part, she only had boys; she never had girls. My mother, she raised my mother, so basically it was like her granddaughter / daughter.
Right.
So I got that. I have that quilt now, locked in a bin in plastic.
Right.
That I won't give my mother back because I don't trust her.
Yeah, you refuse to give it
Yeah.
back even though it belongs to her.
She had asked me to hold on to it.
Yeah, it was
for her
temporary.
when she was moving.
Yeah,
So I give
but
her back.
mommy didn't move though. Mommy moved and settled.
Yeah, and I gave her back her stuff.
Except that.
Except the blanket, yes. Except the blanket. But do you have your family? Do you have anything from your great grandmother, or do you have anything from your grandmother, like your mom? And them, do they have anything from grandma?
I'm pretty sure that my mother and my aunts do.
Mm-hmm.
As far as myself, unfortunately, I don't have anything tangible
Okay.
or physical from my grandparents. What I have from them to me means more than anything else, though.
Yeah.
I have the memories of
Memories,
them, especially my
yeah.
grandmother. So, and understand the conversation I'm about to have. It's not a situation where I'm taking away from anyone else. This is not a takeaway to build up.
Right.
This is just a strict conversation about my grandmother.
Yeah.
So I had the honor and the privilege.
Which ones? Because you've been
Yeah.
around too.
So I have two.
So say, do me. I want you to do what the ladies did on the show.
Talk to me.
You're the great, and they just said I'm the great granddaughter of, and they named both sides of their grandmothers.
Okay.
So you do that.
So I am the grandson of Annie Robinson, and I am the grandson of Bernice Crenshaw. So, which two totally different women. Now they had a lot of similarities. So both very strong, very strong-willed,
Yeah.
very opinionated,
Yeah.
very determined. They shared those qualities together.
Right.
And actually, in my grandmother, Big Burn, as my cousins and them call her.
Y'all call your grandma a big burn.
Really call her Big. I never did. I never.
Scared.
Yeah, I don't play with her like that. But they both, in their own ways, had a strong love of God. They showed it in totally different ways, though. But they both had a very strong love in their own way of God. So that's where they were very similar. Now, as far as their personalities couldn't be different. Couldn't be more different. So
Example.
so my grandmother the Robinson, which I'm gonna say, which is the Robinson is my mother's side of the family. The Crenshaw is my father's side of the family.
Right.
So my grandmother from my mother's side of the family, unless you found her, you wouldn't know she was in the room. And I get that from her.
Is that what I was about to ask you that
I
question?
get that from her. Now, very sweet, would talk to anybody, but you had to initiate the conversation. She wasn't going to initiate the conversation. She was very content with being in the room and not being seen.
Right.
She was very content with being in the room and just being there.
Now, the funny part I want to ask you about that, because not to cut you, I apologize, but it
you're
just
fine,
it just
baby.
hit me. But how do you do that when you're the first lady of a church?
She's the first lady of the church.
Just like,
She was
how
the
do
first
you
lady
do
of the
that when you're the first lady of the church?
They knew.
They knew. Okay,
They
so
knew.
they
They learned
understood.
her. They respected it.
Okay. Okay.
They knew that Sister Annie.
Leave her alone.
Just leave her alone.
Just leave her alone.
She had a pew. She had a pew that she sat on every time, and she was to the side, almost in the back.
Okay.
And they just knew. They respected. They knew who she was.
Right.
That's the one thing about my grandmother Annie, is that she never pulled any punches about who she was.
Got you.
Now my grandmother Bernice on the Crenshaw side, you knew she was in the room. And I don't say
You wasn't gonna miss her.
yeah, and I don't say this in a bad way. So please don't misunderstand. I'm not saying this in a bad way. There was this energy about her, that you knew she was in the room. You knew she was there. She was going to make herself known.
Right.
I tell this story all the time, and maybe my family get mad at it if they ever hear, but hey, it's okay. My grandmother Crenshaw was the type of woman who, first of all, she went to church faithfully every Sunday.
Yep.
Now, was she a little lubricated by the time she got there?
It don't matter.
Don't matter. She was there.
She was there.
She was there. And she loved sitting in a particular seat, and it was typically the front of the church. So no matter what time she got there, that's where she's gonna be.
Don't sit in her seat.
Don't matter who's there. Don't matter who's there. Don't matter what part of the worship experience we're in. Don't matter where we are in the sermon. You gonna give her a seat.
Right.
But that was the type of person she was. She was very outgoing. Like I said, you knew she was there.
Right.
So, but I had the honor and the privilege of spending more time with my grandmother Annie.
Right.
And so, like I said, I don't have anything physical from her, but I have my love of just random stuff.
Right.
My love of the Three Stooges. My love of Andy Griffith. My love of Barney Fife.
Right.
My love of Tom and Jerry.
Oh my goodness.
My love of the old Looney Tune cartoons comes from her.
Right.
Because that's what we did.
Right.
Because my grandmother would sit, and we would sit in the family room, and we just sit and watch TV all day together. And like I said, we watching Tom and Jerry, we watching Three Stooges, and like mommy, my grandmother had this laugh. It was the cutest little like half laugh, like she wants to laugh but she's trying to hold it back. The cutest little thing.
Let me ask you a question.
Talk to
me. Said family room. Now, in your house, is the family room and the living room two different things?
Yes.
Okay.
So the family room was actually more the den. So the way my grandparents' home was set up, so you had so I'm gonna be country for a moment. You had the front room.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You had the front room.
You mad? I'm mad.
I'm just saying.
I'm mad at you. For
that's what it was.
The front room.
We had the front room.
Then
there was the den.
And
then the dining room, of course, and then there was 2 bedrooms. But the front room, that was the living room.
Living room. Okay.
That was more special occasion, Christmas, stuff like that.
Don't go in there.
You wasn't just in there just to be in there.
Right.
Now the den, which was the family room, that's where we spent the majority of our time.
Okay.
Yeah, in the den.
Okay.
So that's what we were. And then we do stuff like every day we walk to the store. That was we called it was the Farmers. It was this local neighborhood store.
Had everything.
Like, had everything. Literally had everything.
Had everything.
You can get everything from a pair of boots to gum, everything in between.
Right.
So every day we walk there. And we just talk and we laugh, and she'd tell me stories about herself growing up and who she was. And I'd hear stories about her family and just growing up, and we talk. And the one thing my grandmother used to always do, the one thing I remember is that this was a different time. Me growing up was a whole different time. So my grandmother and my grandfather had this running thing. My grandmother pretended not to chew tobacco, and my grandfather pretended like he didn't know she was chewing tobacco.
Okay.
Yeah, but it was thick apple.
Thick
apple tobacco.
Oh my goodness.
That she used to sent me to the store about every day to buy. And they let me buy it.
Right.
I'm like 7, 8, 9 years old.
They knew her.
They knew who I was.
Right.
Just going to the store, buying her little, and I'd sneak it into her, and she sneak it under her pillow. And she pretend like she wasn't chewing it, and my grandfather pretend like he didn't know.
Like he didn't know. So that's where we're gonna play these games.
That's the game. Yeah, but that's what I remember. I remember the conversations. I remember the time. I remember the watching this. Like I said, if you ever get mad at me about all the random old stuff I know, blame my grandmother. It's her fault.
Grandma.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I am the granddaughter of Bessie Mae Jones. I think it's May. I'm gonna ask my mother that because all of the whole crew was May.
Yeah,
I don't know what that was.
Silver May, Bessie May.
Yeah. Bessie Mae Jones, and the granddaughter of.
Oh, get it right. Get it right. You got to say it right.
I can't even. They done made me forget my grandmother's name because there's so many at one time. Oh my gosh. Odessa. No, it's actually Lee Villa. Get my grandmama name right, bruh. It's Lee Villa, Odessa. That's that third name, Augustina. It's Augustinina. Y'all don't judge. I think it's like it's Lee Villa, Odessa. If I say it fast, I can say it's like Odessa. No, it's Lee Villa, Odessa, August something. Grandma, she in heaven. I love you, Grandma. Brown.
I never knew that.
Brown. So it's like 3 names, right? Brown. I am the granddaughter of those incredible, amazing women. Now. Bessie was my mom's and Lee Villa was my dad's.
Right.
And I was kind of like, I was raised by both of them in a very short period of time. And what I remember about my grandmother, Lee Villa, she loved the Lord. Like she loved God.
Yeah.
The whole family were either pastors or deacons or ushers. They just was, because the whole strip of where we lived was all family. Like everybody was family.
Everybody was blood related.
Everybody was blood related down there. South Creek is what they called it.
Old Town.
And I still know the mailboxes. Route 2, Box 114.
First of all, that's crazy that you still know that.
Route 2, Box 114. And what I remember about her is she raised all of her children. And I thought the crazy part about the house, when I was living with them, I was like, this house is so big.
Yeah.
I remember going back to the house and was like, why is this house so little? Because it was so big, because front room, when you walk into the front room, as you say.
Yeah, you got to have that
and
front
to the
room.
left was the bedroom, and then you go into the kitchen, and then there was 2 rooms to the right and then 3 rooms to the left.
Right.
And in the back was another room. And so my grandmother, she cooked every single day. I don't know what my problem is. I didn't get that from her.
Yeah, my grandmother cooked every day as well.
Breakfast, lunch,
Yeah.
and dinner.
Now
okay?
the only difference is my grandmother, she cooked for breakfast. She would fix something for lunch, and she would cook for dinner.
No, my grandmama cooked all 3. My grandfather Jamie,
Right.
He wanted meal, and for as long as I can remember, to the day she passed away, she cooked full course meals, which was weird, like biscuits. That's what I'm trying to figure out. What's my issue? Because she cooked like biscuits from scratch.
My grandmother did as well.
And I used to be in the kitchen with her. Like I would see her cook, and I mean, like everything. But she was a quiet storm. She didn't say a lot.
Yeah.
She didn't do a lot. She just kind of, her and my grandfather would have these heated discussions about the Bible.
Not the heated discussions.
Heated discussions with my Uncle Ander, who was a pastor, because my
Right.
grandfather wouldn't go to church. He said church is home with him. He read the Bible. He didn't want to do that. My grandmother would faithfully go.
He know the Lord for himself.
He know the Lord for himself, right? But he knew the scripture back and forth. So her quiet spirit was so good.
Right.
She was so good. Now, my grandma Bessie, straight out of Brooklyn. That's
Different
all I got
ball
to say. Straight out of
Different ball
Brooklyn.
game.
Grandma Bessie was like a force to be reckoned with.
Right.
Like she chose who she liked. She loved her. I'm sorry, fam. I'm gonna tell the truth. She would tell you, I love my grandsons and I like my granddaughters. So she was very much about the boys.
Okay.
Like, she wasn't too much about the girls. I mean, she was okay, but she really loved her grandsons. And so she was the one that would send me to the store to get her Miller Nips, as she would call it.
Okay, so grandmama's just sending kids out here.
Yeah, but
so
they
yours for the
knew.
Miller Nips, mine was for the tobacco.
No, also because she did Miller Nips, and I had to get her Days Old Work tobacco.
The who?
Days Old Work. Look it up. Days Old Work, y'all. Look up Days Old Work tobacco. And then I would do her, because like in the back would be like a number. Yeah, I'm sorry,
her
y'all.
numbers too?
Hate numbers. And I'll just go and take her little slip, get them her little dollar. Either she gonna do a combination 50 cent, combination
Right.
for $1. I mean, I still know Bolito the whole 9. That's crazy. But so that was an experience. And then my other grandmother, and I just realized I didn't do that. I am also the granddaughter of Helen Hudson.
Yes, you are.
Oh my goodness.
Can't forget my Helen.
Whew, I don't even know how I did that.
Cannot forget my Helen.
Grandma Helen, she was the Spanish cooking grandmama.
Yeah.
Grandma Don't Kill Me. She was also the bamboo rolling weed grandma.
Yes, she was. Yes, she was. Offered to me the first time I met her.
Yes.
Yes, she was.
Get your nerves calm.
Get your nerves right.
Get your nerves right. She was incredible as well. The things that they gave me, which each was differently, but one thing they all 3 gave me was the strength. They were
Right.
strong women. They weren't loud women, because actually, to be honest, even though Grandma Bessie was a force, but she wasn't loud.
Yeah.
So I don't even know why I'm loud, but my mama.
I'm about to say mommy.
My mother.
Mommy's
but
why you
they
loud.
were very quiet women, but they were such a quiet storm. They were a force to be reckoned with, and whoever they were with knew, don't do it.
That's how Annie Giga was.
Yeah.
My grandmother, Annie Roberts, but Annie Giga. That's how she was. Because even with her, it's like you were saying, because first of all, my grandmother was smaller than you.
You say this all the time.
No, she was. My grandmother's not 5 feet.
Right.
And if she was barely 5 feet. And she was always she was a beautiful woman. If you looked at her just right, you thought she might have been Native American. Beautiful, long, black, just thick hair.
Right.
Beautiful, caramel complexion. Beautiful woman. And she was small, but don't let that smallness fool you. And only reason I can say this now, because I know I'm saying this on public airwaves, but I think the statute of limitations may be up. And plus, my grandmother been gone she's been in heaven for quite some time now.
She can still come get you.
Yeah. We believe she might have took a life. we believe. Because growing up, she was nothing to play with because she was small.
Yeah.
And so, and also understanding the time, and we've mentioned this before, the time that my grandmother grew up in. My grandmother was born in 1919. So thinking when she was hitting her prime, she was hitting her prime in the 30s, the 40s, the 50s. Totally different time back then. So she had to deal with a lot coming from, and plus she born in the country, South Carolina, deep country. So different time then. But she's always told the story. There was this dude. She used to always say, first of all, she said he was so tall, he used to stand on the ground and look through the kitchen window.
Oh, Lord.
But he called himself liking her. And she, as my grandmother say, he kept jugging at her and messing with her. We think my grandmother stabbed her. We really do. Because there's a certain part of a story she tell into it, and then a certain point, she just tail off and she just look at you and she won't finish the story out.
She done veered off.
We believe she did. But she was that type of woman. She was, like I said, she was, I miss my grandmother. She was, like I said, like Betsy, you talking about Betsy, she was very quiet, but she was a force. Yeah, it was never a situation. She's the prime example. Don't take my kindness for weakness.
That was all of, even though my grandfather would go back and forth with my grandmother, but if she said Jamie in a certain way, he knew it was over.
You lead him
whatever that conversation was over. Same thing with Grandma. Grandma Helen was like the sweetest person. Like, she was absolutely sweet, beautiful women. And it's so amazing because I know we only have a midweek moment.
Yeah, we actually going to keep this at a moment.
Yeah, but I think we need to come back to it.
I would love to come back to this conversation.
Come back to it, like our heritage and where we come from.
Yeah.
And especially, but I can tell you, because we talk about creative energy, and one of the things that I knew about Grandma Helen, her creative energy was she loved to cook for the entire family. That was where her energy came from. That's what made her feel good. My grandmother creative energy for her was to serve. So she would go to church and serve all the time. I remember my grandfather on my mother's side passed away, and I went to the church to his funeral, and downstairs at the repast was my grandmama on my father's side doing the usher and actually passing out the food. So it just was like, because they all lived in the same town.
Yeah, I remember.
And then when I think about I don't know, just like all of my grandmothers, like Grandma Bessie, Grandma Lavilla, and just like, I don't even know. And Grandma Helen, they just had this thing about themselves. They had this creative energy. They would just, now I will say this, honestly, me and my Grandma Bessie did not get along. I looked like my mama, and she just did not like that thought process. Right. But to be honest, it was like, they still all had this, like she could make a cake, and the cake tastes so good. Now,
it's something about that grandmama cooking.
But here's about the cake. The cake always falls.
Right.
I don't know how she does it. She claims it's always the kids moving around. Like, when she make a cake, she wanted everybody to be still.
Yes.
But I don't care if we be still or not. Her cake would always fall. I just don't know why. But it was the best chocolate cake
because it was grandma
in the world.
Yeah, it was.
Best chocolate cake.
Something you just said, and I know we're gonna wrap it up. Like I said, we're gonna keep this as a moment. But it's something you just said is amazing. Like, even with my grandmother, because my grandfather, I mentioned this before. My grandfather was a Baptist minister. My grandfather didn't pull his punches with anybody. What he felt, he said.
Right.
That's where I get that from.
Right.
Except her. Except her. Like you said, there was a certain look. There was a certain tone in her voice that even my grandfather
knew.
Would go ahead and we're gonna let this one go.
We're gonna ride it out.
We're just gonna ride this one out.
We just gonna let this one
go. We're gonna come back to this topic because it's actually a topic I wanna talk about in a little more.
Because we haven't even gotten to our moms yet.
Because we don't want to leave them out.
Want to leave them out. So we'll do part 2.
We'll do a part 2.
Next midweek moment.
We'll do a part 2. But family, just if you're blessed to still have your grandmother or even your grandparents, call them, go see them, tell them you love them. If they're not around, have a conversation with your parents. Find out something new about them. Find out who they were, because I promise there was somebody outside of just being your grandmother, your grandfather. Let's find out.
I think we need to go back and know who our ancestors are and what they've done, and how that part of us the part of them has actually shaped us,
and
to
defined
be
us.
Honest.
I love it.
Yeah.
Family, we're actually going to do something we never do. We're going to keep this actually at a moment.
Wow.
Family, we thank you so much for listening. We thank you for being a part. We thank you for joining us. I'm sorry. Yes, ma'am.
I raised my hand. Y'all did good. I didn't cut them off. I raised my hand.
You raised your hand. What's up, baby?
Now, I just want to say, again, go to Netflix and Our Mother's Garden on Netflix. Please watch that. It's so incredible. I'm sorry, babe. Go ahead.
That's fine, babe. I got no problem
I
with
see
that.
how I raised my hand.
You did. You raised your hand.
Proud.
So, family, just however you listen, whether it's iTunes, whether it's Podbean, whether it's Spotify, whether it's Google Play,
Yes.
whether it's Amazon Music, whether it's iHeartRadio, on our own personal website at www.thecrenshawcorner.com.
Yes.
Family, we consider ourselves an interactive podcast, which means we can be found on the socials. Yes. We're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, all on The Crenshaw Corner.
Yes, we are.
And of course, you can email us at any time at thecrenshawcorner@gmail.com.
Yes.
Once again, thecrenshawcorner@gmail.com. And as always, family,
Yes.
welcome to our journey.
We love you guys. Bye.